Thank you for auditing Professor Skye's record review. It's been 3 years. Today is September 6th and my first video was uploaded on this day in 2018. And with 3 years under my belt, I figured I'd do a new sort of introductory video. So if you know my channel, you know who I am, you can just go back to waiting for my next video. But I'm going to put this on my landing page on YouTube to give an idea of who I am and what this channel is all about. It's nice because my goal when starting this channel was to get 1 subscriber a day. That was like my goal. I figured I was gonna have kind of a different style channel. I don't really know how to do this. I'm kind of an old man in a young man's game, in a young woman's game. So I'm like, I don't know, 1 subscriber a day. So on the eve of my first anniversary, September 6th, 2019, I had 363 subscribers. Throughout the day, I got 1 more, and I almost made it. Well, now 3 years in, I'm happy to say I just passed 20,000 subscribers, which is bizarre. If I were to go 1 a day, that would put me back to around December 5th, 1965. So thank you for your support. I guess whatever I'm doing is reaching people. So who am I and what am I doing? Who am I? I am Skye Payne. That's my real name. My parents named me after an island in Scotland, for reasons, I suppose. And I call this channel Professor Skye's Record Review. I am a professor. I got my doctorate. I'm technically Dr. Skye Payne. Here's a copy of my thesis, Rupture, the Fear of Discontinuity in 17th Century France. That was my thesis, great thesis advisor. The thesis itself is, I wrote it pretty quickly. It's not my best work. I do better work on this channel probably. But still, you know, I got that at University of California, Santa Barbara. 17th century French scholarship is, that's my primary area, but I've had for over 20 years a side focus on hip-hop studies, and that's another thing which I bring to the channel. I am a legitimate professor of French. That is my day job. So like sometimes people say, oh, whatever you say, professor in quotes, that's just my job. It's a great job. It's the best job in the world, although it can be quite difficult. I'm also now the chair of my department, which is an extra amount of work. But I should always say, and I like to emphasize, I don't represent my department. I don't represent my college. I don't represent my colleagues. I do not represent the school system where I work. I never mention where I work because these are all just my thoughts. And sometimes, sometimes people might think I'm doing this on their behalf. I am not. This is exclusively the work of an individual. So that's part of me, that I'm a professor. And another thing about me is I'm a father. I'm a father of 2 teenagers. And part of this channel is trying to better relate to them, trying to better understand, because YouTube is so important in their life, trying to better understand YouTube, trying to understand what YouTube is, how it works, and also they're both very musical. My son is an amazing drummer. My daughter is becoming a great songwriter and plays ukulele and guitar and all of that. I'm also a extremely happily remarried man. So I will often mention my wife, who I never name by name. I call her the Dr. and Mrs. because she also has a doctorate, but in a much more complicated field than 17th century French literature. As far as geography goes, I live outside of Rochester, New York. That's where I plan on living the rest of my life. I'm originally from Massachusetts. In that state, I lived in the towns of Belmont and Norton and Watertown and especially Boston. In California, I've lived in Los Angeles, Oakland, and Santa Barbara. In France, I've lived a little bit of time in the Vendée region, a little bit of time in Paris, and most of my time in Marseille. And my wife is from Serbia. All of those different locations do play in my channel. So I'm trying to think, how do I explain myself to you better and what this channel is and what it's about, right? Well, I sort of say it in the beginning. Every video I start off with always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor, right? But really there's 3 rules for what I review. And I think through those 3 rules you can understand the idea behind this channel. I have to like it, I have to have something to say about it, and I have to have the time. So number 1, I have to like it. Part of this channel, I did it when I was turning 41, right? My birthday's next week, and exactly a week from today. And when you are in your mid-20s, so I'm 43, turning 44, same age as Tom Brady and Kanye. When you hit 25 years old, and most of my viewers are actually around 25 or younger, you have something that I call mid-20s music death. Your sense of what is good music just stops, and the new music is bad, and the old music is good. And this happened to me. Between around 2001 and 2018 when I started this channel, I died. Musically, I died. I just stopped listening to almost any new music, you know? I mean, I liked Radiohead, so I listened to them when they came out with stuff. I like Kanye, so, you know, there was some new music that I listened to. But in general, my mind was closed. So part of this channel is answering the question, is there any good music out there? And the answer is yes. It is insane how much good music is out there. But you just have to be open. So to a certain extent, I'm doing this selfishly to help myself stay open, you know, to be mentally flexible, right? Because as you get older, it's not about strength. You're always going to lose strength. The thing you can gain is flexibility. And flexibility can be physical, you know, but really it's more mental. So if I can listen to some trap rapper with auto-tuner out of Atlanta and treat it with the same amount of care and thought that I would listening back to my old EPMD albums, then I will stay flexible and understand that times change, but that doesn't mean that times are bad. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Also, it's kind of a fun idea too, because I'm an old man and because I'm like an authority figure, because I'm a professor and I'm a dad. Hopefully my young viewers will sort of understand that there are people out there who aren't just turning up their nose and who hear things like hyperpop and just go, that's not music. In my day, it sounds like somebody stuck a cat inside of a blender. All that garbage that I used to hear when I was your age, when people were dismissing my music. It's also a little bit there. So it's maybe an attempt to bridge generation gaps in a way. I focus almost exclusively on rap, rock, and pop. Sometimes I'll get out of my lane and do some like modern country or classical or death metal. But in general, the main thing that I focus on is being positive. I only review something if I like it. So you might be wondering, what's the score, Skye? How many out of 5? How many out of 10, right? I am actually a professor. My job is to give grades. It would be so easy for me to give each album a grade and let that be some kind of cute thing that plays to my brand. But my brand is not grading. Negativity is easy, okay? Saying I don't like something, and I'm good at it, by the way. I don't do it on this channel, but if you want me to tear something apart, you know, like you want me to talk about like, we didn't start the fire, I can just go off, and it's entertaining as hell. But what does that do for the greater good, you know? What does all this negativity on YouTube do? What does all this hate and like trash and cinema sins and all these kinds of things? It does nothing but just sort of attack artists. So this channel is very strongly pro-artist. There's tons of bad music. I listen to it every week. But that's just fine. I'll just ignore it. You see me review something, even if you don't click on it, that means I think it's good. That means you should listen to it. At least give it a shot. The very worst thing I will say about something is that I don't particularly like it, but I recognize that it's good. So that's why there's no negative reviews, and because there's no negative reviews, that's why there's no scores and no grading, okay? You're not children, okay? You don't need a number out of 10. I like to say on this channel, I don't give grades, I give thoughts. That's the point, right? Let's just share thoughts. Let's just have discourse at the highest possible level that I can provide it. And if you're watching it, then you're sharing along with me. And we're doing something kind of cool. And you can see in my comment section, I have like the best comment section on YouTube. Nobody is trashing, nobody is trolling, everybody's building together, all in the service of recognizing that there's so much great art around us, and we just have to take a second to appreciate it. Always positive. Number 2, I have to have something to say. Sometimes I listen to things, you know, and I like it, but I just don't have like a framing device or a central question. I try to do that for each review, okay? There's a lot of great music reviewers who are still wonderful, but just sort of put things out there and follow the same thing and say the same, you know, just like each album is different, but the way they present it is basically the same. I try not to do that. I try to find some kind of larger theme, some kind of essay that I can make about each album that I review. I don't always succeed, but I think I succeed with a pretty good success rate. So it's all focused on art. It's all focused on the artists. And what I try to do is I bring my expertise, you know, and not just the expertise in 17th century philosophy and literature that led to my thesis. But also I got a degree in art history as an undergrad, and I study art history and I'm pretty good at that. I've watched a lot of movies. I've read a lot of books about film culture, about movies. Same thing about television. Same thing about history itself. I try to bring whatever it is that I got in my brain and apply it to the music and make interesting connections. Hopefully, that provides a unique perspective that you find valuable. Finally, I have to have the time. I do 3 videos a week. I've done 3 videos a week ever since September 2018. Sometimes 4. Every once in a while, 1 or 2. That's only happened maybe once or twice. But 3 videos a week. It's usually after I go to the gym, trying to stay young, trying to stay limber. But because of that, you might notice my style is not like most other YouTubers. I don't edit. I just won't do it. I have wonderful kids. I also have wonderful dogs, Bo and Toby. And sometimes they'll bark out the window and I'll just have to let it be there. Or they'll run up and they'll start making weird licking noises on the couch next to me. I just have to let it go. Sometimes I'll forget something and go backwards, or sometimes I'll drop my notes. But the thing is in order for me to do 3 videos a week, I have to do it like this. Super quick, 1 take, no editing, no production, no theme song, no elements, no icons, no camera. I'm using my iPhone. Sometimes the phone rings and I have to start the whole damn thing over again if I forget to do the thing. And another important thing is that I don't have notes. Okay? You see right there, I made a mistake. You see? I'm not gonna edit this out. I don't have a script, I have notes. Okay? That's the way I do this channel. So you'll see, this is my first page, this is everything I'm saying here. It's the way I teach as well, right? I just have notes, I don't have a script. So it's gonna have a particular different feel. I hope it feels like a class. I hope it feels like you're learning something and it's moving along quite nicely. But because of that, there might be a few more ums, there might be a few more ahs than you'd like, but that's the way that I do it. Random thoughts, just to kind of close this out, okay? I watch a lot of YouTube. I love YouTube. I think it is the future of human discourse. I think it's the future of academia. I think it's the future of entertainment. I think it is the greatest platform that could possibly exist. And I'm happy to be a part of it. I have a Patreon. I currently have 18 Patreons there. I take all the money that they give me and buy music with it. This channel is about art. I don't take the money because hey, I actually have a good full-time job, I have health insurance, all that stuff, right? So I don't need the money, but I like the money, and I like taking that money and saying, you know what, I'm gonna buy that album because I don't have enough money to buy all the music I want, but Patreons help that. I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter. I'm not good at them yet. Hopefully I'll get better at them. So I need to get better at that. And I need to get better at Reddit as well. Quite often people say I should have a podcast. I don't know how to do podcasts, but I might transfer this to a podcast. I do have a podcast, but it's about vintage Star Wars collectibles. There's a whole nother side of my life that's nothing to do with music. I do have a Bandcamp where I released my 1 album that I made 20 years ago. You can take a look at that, Bandcamp/Professor Skye. I'm not that great with Twitter, I'm not that great with Instagram, but I do read every single comment. Every comment that's ever been left on my channel, I read. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I comment, but I appreciate every comment. It's like a nice part of my day, right? It's my favorite reason to check my phone. I don't really do requests because it's awkward. Because if I don't have anything to say, or if I don't like it, I don't want to tell you that up front. But if you send me a request, I'll usually have a listen, I probably won't review it, but I'll have a listen. So there you go. There's my channel. On my Patreon, I do talk a little bit more about the lore and the personal stuff, I've already explained the history of why that's back there. Pretty soon I'll explain the Kafka poster. I'll explain the Joe Cool mug, which is part of my whole shtick. I'm not really used to this whole, branding thing, but that's all part of my brand, I guess. Okay, well, I better stop talking. Take care of the dogs. Oh, come on, you want to see the dogs. Let's go see the dogs. We'll see the dogs and then we'll go. Because I don't show my kids on here, and I don't show the Dr. and Mrs. But there's Toby. Huh, Toby? Toby's always nervous. Are you nervous, Toby? All right, and here's Bo. He's always calm. All right, oh, and also, I end every single video pointing at the camera and saying, there's the camera. I do that because when I started, I didn't know where the camera was on the iPhone. So I like the first couple of videos, I'm like talking like this the whole time. So that's why I ended that way. Okay, until next time, there's the camera.